are 7 points from safety, and with 7 matches remaining, time is quickly running out. They've got just 7 wins to their name so far, and the survival mission is starting to look impossible. 7 certainly seems to be the number to beat. However, where there is a chance, there is hope, and despite the daunting position they find themselves in, Argyle know with a win today, that hope grows stronger. In their way, a Norwich side who have an outside chance of the playoffs and who, let's remember, scored 6 against Argyle back in November. Once again, we have another massive game in store then, and all the action is coming your way here live on Argyle TV. Hello, good afternoon. I am Erin Black and welcome to Matchday Live here on Argyle TV, ready for another exciting game of football here at Home Park and another important game. It feels like we've been saying that an awful lot lately, but it does remain true. The last 2 matches here haven't gone Argyle's way, unfortunately, and they need to do a lot to try and rediscover that previously strong home form from the last month of the season if they want to keep playing championship football here again next season. So a lot to play for. Your match passes, both audio and video, are as always available over on the website. You want to head to pafc.co.uk for all of the details on that, because we would love to have you along with us for the ride here this afternoon. And joining me for some of that is none other than former Argyle defender Mark Edworthy, but also, of course, former Norwich player as well. So this is a good game for you.
It is a good game, obviously, and welcome to everybody this afternoon. Pitch is in great condition. We were just talking off air, weren't we, that it's a perfect day for football. Argyle got 4 home games left, 3 away, 21 points to play for. I know it's a tough ask, but they've got to get as many points as they can to try to avoid the drop. Yeah,
you've had your own success story with Norwich, of course, getting promoted to the Premier League. Little bit of an outsider chance for the playoffs themselves this season, but where there's a will, there's a way, and that's what they'll be pushing for this afternoon.
Yeah, just watching both teams warm up, obviously, ultra professional as you'd expect. Norwich think they're in with a great opportunity, 5 points off the playoffs, a good win, a late winner against West Brom. So they believe, mathematically they can get in there, and they're coming here today to win the game. So it's a big game this afternoon for both teams, really, especially for Argyle, as we know, we're fighting for the survival, bottom of the table.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side for Argyle, of course, bottom of the league, mathematically still just about hanging on in there, but time is very much running out for Argyle now.
It is, I think, when it's mathematically impossible, then you sort of give in, but I think that's not going to happen. You've got to keep going. There's enough points, as we said, 21 points to play for, which is unbelievable. We said about 7 wins, 7 games left. Is that a bit of a twist in the tail? Who knows? But all you can do is take care of your own destiny, and I think they've got to win today now, because games are going to run out for us, unfortunately. So take it game by day, win today, see what the other teams do. And that's all we can really rely on.
Yeah, I mean, we're ticking through those must-win games, really, and ending up not with the results we wanted. Again, last week against Watford, potentially there could have been more in it, but lucky to get away with the draw there.
Yeah, we were. I think if we were talking about a fantastic away point against Watford, but the situation we're in at the bottom of the table and the timing of the season as well, wasn't enough. We need to get wins, but, we should be celebrating a fantastic away point, a good clean sheet. But it's an uphill task, but it's mathematically too possible.
Kids, and when it's mathematically possible,
that's
when we've got to crunch the numbers and see what happens. Let's move over to your players then for this afternoon, see what the team is lining up like. We will start, as we always do, with the Argyle squad on screen for you there. Connor Hazard in goal, then we have Barley Mumba, Jordan Houghton, Julio Plegathuelo, Cornell Suge, Ryan Hardy, Michael Obafemi, Mustafa Bundu, Adam Randall with the captain's armband, Nicola Katic and Matti Soranola. And on our bench, Grimshaw, Ogbeta, Edwards, Wright, Puach, JB, Tajani, Isaka and Paulson. A couple of changes in there, Mark. But, when you look at that, coming up against the Norwich side, which we'll see shortly, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Ballymumba's coming back in potentially against his own team. That sometimes managers feel there's maybe, something there. Pooh Hatch obviously comes out, and JB, so Houghton's back in there. That experience in midfield, we always like Houghton in there. He's got that experience, as we said, sits in the midfield, allows other players to play. So, two changes, but again, an attacking team and a side who thinks is going to win the game. Yeah,
Connor Hazard, of course, in goal, and we've got Pleggy in defence as well. They were two players that yourself and Aaron picked out in the breakfast show to analyse. Probably two players that are going to be tested this afternoon.
Yeah, certainly. I think the two players we talked about in the breakfast show, and they've been in great form. Connor has to be, and he's been superb there. He's obviously gained that number one spot, and Pooh Hatch is obviously being left out, but obviously Peg's gone back in. And he's earned himself a new contract, and he's been, magnificent in defence. He really has, and fully deserves his name on the team sheet.
Yeah, I mean, because you'll have the first-hand experience, being a defender yourself. When you look at some of the stats from last weekend, for example, 17 defensive actions and the most tackles in the game against Watford. So he's obviously reading the game well, seeing the threats and responding to them.
Yeah, he's a clever player. As we said this morning with Aaron, he likes defending, and he defends well. When he goes to the ground, he wins the ball clearly. He's enjoyed that 1v1 battles. Aerially he's good as well, so I think he fully deserves his place. Don't forget there was new players that came into the football club. It was a bit disjointed under Rooney regarding how many games he played. He was in and out of the team, but now he's established himself and he's a regular, and I'm really pleased for him.
I suppose where we need to be looking at today is up front and making sure Argyle are getting those goals. Of course, you got Bundu in there, 2 goals in his last 3 matches. Hardy and Bundu together, probably looking like the best threat that Argyle have got.
Yeah, similar to what we talked about this morning with Norwich's threat. They've got 2 top goal scorers on their side, and Bundu and Hardy have been in good form, and they need to be. I think if they score goals, their goals could be enough of what we need to get ourselves out of the current situation, but they've got to be in top form, and hopefully they can produce today.
Do you think we need to see a bit more creativity from not only those players but the side as a whole to be able to break through?
I think so, yeah. I think we were organised, weren't we? But then we conceded 3 at home against Derby, and then obviously 3 at home against Sheffield Wednesday. So really difficult that was, because when you tighten up and you start conceding, what happens is you get all 11 behind the ball and protect that, because that fear of conceding goals. That obviously didn't work in the last 2 home games, but then you've got to be more creative up front as well to give Bundu and Hardy the opportunity to break forward and score goals. But the key thing is, I think last week against Watford in the first half we did perform very well, but unfortunately we didn't score.
We know when we see these two sides in particular come up against each other that there can be some quite high scoring games.
For sure.
Of course, Argyle conceding 6 in November, but we can't forget the time when Norwich came to Home Park and they conceded 6 against us. So, there is a potential to be lots of goals in this game. It's just a case of which way.
It's true. I mean, the 2 games were unbelievable, weren't they? Magnificent games. For both teams, when Norwich beat us and vice versa when Argyle beat them at home. So if that's the case, and it's going to happen this afternoon, it's going to be a magnificent game, and the roof's going to come off, especially if Argyle go on to get all 3 points. But there's a lot at stake for both sides. As we said, Norwich looking to get into the playoffs, and Argyle trying to get off the bottom of the table.
Yeah, I mean, the odds are now, we've said it will probably end up
exactly.
nil, no goals, and then what that really is it for Argyle. This is, we keep saying must-win games, but this is really the last, if you're running the maths, this is the last ditch.
Well, I think it is just like your 4 games at home. Really, you've got to be looking with your home fans, because our away records, been so poor over the course of the season. 4 home, 3 away. You have to start winning games, unfortunately, because you're just going to run out of games there, and that's the thing. And when you rely on other teams as well, your destiny is clearly out of your own hands. So all we can do today is take care of our own destiny, beat Norwich this afternoon, see what happens, at 4:45 or when the game's finished around the country, and then on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to play for. Norwich got their first win in 4 matches with a last-minute winner against West Brom last week. Let's have a little look at the side that they have opted for to take on the Greens this afternoon. We've got Angus Gunn, Jack Stacey, Shane Duffy, Borja Sains, Josh Sargent, Emiliano Marcondes, Ante Sianax, Kenny McLean, Marcelino Nunez, Jose Cordoba and Kellen Fisher, and on their bench Long, McConville, Wright, Forson, Sorensen, Slimane, Hernandez, Shortau and Bridge. This is something that we dug into a little bit in the breakfast show, Mark, but for anyone that missed it, their their players that they've got up front have been doing some serious damage around the league this season.
Yeah, top players, and they got really, really good partnership. We talked about Bundu and Hardy. Norwich are very similar, lots of goals in the team. He is a top scorer in the Championship at the moment. So then they're going to be a real threat. Argyle have got to be at their best to beat Norwich this afternoon. They really have. And it's going to be a really entertaining game because I think there's so much at stake, and Norwich can't afford it just to sit back and concede, especially a point's not good enough for Norwich.
Yeah, they do have the league's top scorer in Sains, so he's probably going to give some people some nightmares this afternoon. But I think Josh Sargent, the third highest player as well, we'll come on to him in a minute. But in terms of what Sains is going to be able to do today, that is
I think it's his movement and as you said, his ability to score goals. He's very comfortable in the box, his movement's great, but he scores outside the box as well with both feet, so he's going to be a real threat. And goal scorers, when they're in the mood, they're going to add to their tally. He'll want to be the Championship's top scorer, and he's got enough games to do that, starting to that home park, and he'll want to perform well here.
Yeah, we are without Maxi as well, of course, because I think he picked up a little bit of a niggle on the international break. So when you look at having such top, I mean, he's not even a striker really, is he? But when you look at the goals players like that are putting away, Argyle really do need to make sure that they cover that well.
Yeah, we talked about Conor Hazard and Pegg. They've got to be at their best today. They really have, and I think they'll relish that challenge as well. Pegg always likes going up against top players, and he defends well. 1v1 battles. He wins them most of the time, so he's going to be tested. I think he enjoys that challenge. So it's it's going to be some really good matchups over the course of 90 minutes today. There really is.
Yeah, and I think as well, when you want to make home park a fortress. We've had that before. The gleams come off a little bit, I think it's fair to say, this season. So maybe Norwich might be fancying their chances. We know it can be an intimidating atmosphere. It's a lovely day for it today. But I think they'll be very much fancying their chances. Yeah,
I think they do. Look, we've got to give everybody credit at the football club. The ground staff. It's a magnificent place to come and play. And away teams come here and look at this facility, and it's a great place to play. It really is. Top sides have come here and struggled in the past because of our home form. As of late, it's been difficult. But we've got to understand, I think we've talked about it so many times, 19 out of 24 sides have played in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And, Argyle are amongst that. So, it has been a difficult season. We are still in it. They earn the right to get here, and let's hope they can stay here.
Yeah, I think, of course, yes, when you break it down, there is still that last glimmer of hope that Argyle could possibly cling on to something in the Championship. But I think really when you take a step back from it, fans just want to see Argyle win. We know what the win would mean, but it would just be nice to see the players, the club, just have a little bit of positivity.
Yeah, I think so. You've got to be an optimist. You really have, because if you just throw in the towel, then the belief's gone. You'll lose the dressing room, and it'll affect everybody around the football club. So I think you've just got to believe in yourself. I'm sure the manager keeps telling the players that. And you've just got to be at your best. You really have. And I think what all the Argyle fans just will enjoy, if they see those players wear that shirt of pride, which they do, and put in the effort and that desire and commitment, they'll get applauded off, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go down, you don't want to go down without a fight. At least take it all the way to the bitter end.
Fans they're not stupid.
Yeah.
They pay good money, and the following around the country is incredible. So credit to them, huge credit to the fans at the football club. But they just want to see that passion. They want to see a return at the football club, and that's all the players can do.
Yeah, well, it's not an easy position to be in, and one person that will know that for sure is head coach Miron Muslic. Let's hear from both coaches now, but we will start from him because he's hoping that good home form can return.
The knowing you have to win thing, does that clarity of thought maybe make things, not easy is not the right word, but clearer, because you just have to win. It doesn't matter about anything else.
Yeah, I don't see this at all in a negative context, because we can talk around now for the next 72 days. It's not we have to win this game. We have to go out and try everything possible, having just the bigger desire, the bigger heart, the bigger willingness. Norwich is also playing for something. If they can manage to grab the 3 points, they have a chance to reach a play of 1 and to fight for the Premier League. But our desire, our willingness should always be bigger. We have something more to play. We are facing a potential relegation, and we have the opportunity Saturday, and we will go fully.
Yeah, easy question to ask this, difficult one to answer, I imagine. How do you go about winning that? How do we go to win against Norwich?
I think we will give them again the best possible preparation, the best possible structure, It's just up to the lads to grab this heart, to go outside and just to go fully. Regardless what happens on the pitch, we will have for sure moments when we're on top. We will have also moments normal when Norwich is on top. Get out of these moments. Find the calmness back again. Find the composure and attack again until we score. And then I think if we can have this momentum to have the opener for us, I know how this place can be. And this is exactly this wave, the confidence, the support we will also need to get it done until the end and to keep the 3 points at the home park.
Able to string wins together really this season. Do you think part of the challenge is that building the momentum and then being able to ride the wave rather than it being stop start?
Yeah, sustained wins, isn't it? Like the manager's saying there, you know, trying to find that composure and that winning recipe, and that's difficult. It's been a tough season on the road, we know that, and it took such a long time to break that deadlock, and then you hope when that came we could go on and improve, but yeah, it's been very stop-start. I think if you get back-to-back wins, I mean, look at Derby, for instance, they got a new manager, they've won 4 on the trot, all of a sudden they're gaining momentum at a really important time. Derby, you know, have done that with a new manager. We've got our new manager, and hopefully he really needs to put them wins together now really quickly. Yeah,
I mean, you know, if you look at some of the stats here for Argyle, they've conceded first in 31 matches so far this season. That mentality-wise, you know, that's not good. You then put a lot of pressure on yourself to come back. We have seen Argyle do it this season, but really you want to try and go in front in a game and assert yourself.
Yeah, of course it is. It's an uphill challenge, isn't it? If you consistently go behind, you know, not only have you got to score to get back on level terms, it's difficult to keep coming back. Yes, we've had some magnificent nights and afternoons here at home park, you know, last-minute winners and unbelievable second halves, but you can't keep doing that. That you know, that's fact. Yeah. It would be nice if we could get in front and just get a bit of, you know, what would be the word? Yeah, that winning mentality going as soon as we can. But you know, we are up against it. There is 7 games left, and you know, all we can do is take care of business today against a good Norwich team.
Yeah, you know, we're looking at 7 remaining matches. We are at very much the business end of the season. What has happened so far hasn't necessarily been working in the way that many would have hoped. It's not, you know, delivered the wins that were absolutely necessary. What do you think needs to change in the game? Is it being more forward thinking? Is it being more aggressive? How do you look at it?
Well, I think it's like, you know, it's different managers, different personnel, and I think I'm a great believer, Aaron, over the course of 46 games, that's enough to sort any team out. Yeah. And the table doesn't lie, and the season doesn't lie. It's not boiled down to these last 7 games, but that's fact because we're in the relegation zone now. We really have to, you know, get ourselves out of it. But it's what's happened in the previous games that's put us in this position.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as mentioned, Norwich grabbed their first win in 4 last weekend. But they are without a win since early February, so away from home. So they have had their fair share of trials and tribulations as well. Johannes Thorup is their head coach, and he is wanting to string together a nice end to the season.
Plymouth then looking ahead to that one. An interesting team, obviously they're fighting for their own means, which is always difficult, particularly this time of the season. Yeah. But I mean, you look at them and they've scored a lot of goals at home this season, maybe sort of more than people would expect, conceded a lot as well. So what sort of challenge are you expecting? Because it certainly looks like it's going to be a difficult one to sort of break down.
Yeah, so that's probably the first challenge, that is to break them down, because they will be defending low in moments. Then they will definitely also go and press us in moments of the game like they have done in all their home games, and that they will 100% do that. So it's for us to find that balance when they step up, then recognize the space that will open up. When they defend low, then have a lot of collective movements, a lot of combinations going on so we can break them down and create chances. So it's about finding the right balance in our approach in the game, and again also having in mind that they can be a threat on the counter, so really being, you know, having a purpose with the passes that we do, and not being caught a little bit out of balance when we risk a pass or do something like that. So it's not an easy game to play, and then especially also the context about it, where they fight for their position in the league. That is especially something you will see when you step into the last 10 games of the season, that now it's really clear who's fighting really to just get to stay in the league, and they are obviously one of the teams, so it will not be an easy game for us.
You'll have a soft spot for Norwich, no doubt, of course, Mark, from your playing days there, and they would have been an entertaining team when you were in the thick of it. Entertaining team now as well. You know, they are the second top goal scorers in the league, so I think you know when you're going to see a Norwich game that you know really you should be in for something a bit special. Yeah,
I mean, as we said before, you know, very fortunate in 2004 to actually win this league, and you know, we were attacking the likes of Darren Huckabee and Peter Crouch up front. You know, he goes from everywhere. Mark Rivers, so really we're attacking side in. We ended up winning the championship by 8 points. So you know, some great times, and they've sort of carried on. You know, great club. Delia Smith, obviously a lovely owner who, you know, really looked after the players and the wives. So great place to play, and a lot of fond memories at that football club. And they are an entertaining side. And as you said there, they got the top score in the league so far. Here want to keep that status, and they are good to watch, and they're good on the eye. So as we said, they beat us 6-1, and we beat them 6-1. So we'd love to see a repeat of that. Obviously for Argyle, considering they could get 3 points and get themselves out a bit further up the table. So yeah, it should be a really good game, an entertaining game, which I think, you know, looks perfect conditions. The sun's shining, but it really is the business end of the season now. This is just not like a walkover game or an end of season game. This is so much at stake.
They do, however, concede a lot, mostly in the top half. I'm sure, of course, that wouldn't have happened when you were there. But I suppose that gives Argyle maybe a glimmer, a chink in the armour.
Yeah, but then, of course, they'll be thinking we concede a lot as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, so, that is true.
I know, you know, being one of the worst goal difference. So, yeah, it's set up. You know, we're talking like it's going to be a wonderful game. We see lots of goals in both teams, and let's hope we got it today.
Yeah, lots to look forward to if it works out. Otherwise, I think we might not be looking so happy when 5 o'clock rolls round. But, you know, you've got to let the chips fall where they may. Mark, thank you very much for being here. We'll, of course, be back at half-time and at the end. And a reminder, match passes, if you haven't got them already, now is very much the time to do so. Rob McNichol and Katie Middleton are doing your commentary. Argyle against Norwich City.